Realtors, today we've got a guy on the pod who's probably approved more loans than half y'all have had hot meals. He's been in the game for over 20 years, graduated from Colorado School of Mines, which means, yeah, he's smarter than us, and somehow still finds time to teach agents and investors how not to screw up their deals. So this man's not just in the top 1% of loan originators, he's number 60 freaking 4 in the entire country. And that's not me hyping him up, that's National Mortgage News saying, put some respect on that name. Now listen, you might think mortgage talk is dry, but Joe Massey is anything but. We got into lending, investing, real estate finance, and yeah, we even talked about AI. Because Joe's not just closing loans, he's out here using AI tools to make the process faster, smarter, and way less painful for everyone involved. So if you're an agent who still thinks pre-approval is the end of the conversation, or you've been sleeping on AI because you think it's just for Instagram captions, this one is for you. So let's get into it with the guy who probably approved your competitor's last deal, Joe Massey. Well, right on, guys. Welcome to the Apex Elite AI podcast. Today, we've got the special guest, Joe Massey, on here. So, Joe, welcome to the show, man. Super pumped to have you on.
Dude, I'm so excited to be here. You know, we've known each other for a while, but got to present recently talking about AI with real estate investors. And when I found out this was something that you were involved in, I was like, man, we got to spend more time together, talk about ways we can collaborate. So I'm so grateful for you making the time to have me on today.
Absolutely, dude. Couldn't be happier about it. So yeah, man, let's just start at the very beginning, dude. So tell us where you come from and kind of how you grew up and where you ended up now.
All right. So I moved to Denver with my family in 1990. And I'm not from Denver, wasn't born here. So all the natives get, restless if I say I'm from Denver, but Denver is my home. I've been here, what is that, 35 years or 30 some odd years.
Yeah, I think that's enough to call you a local. You're right. You're native now, dude.
Almost local. Yeah. Went to high school here and then went to college at Colorado School of Mines, graduated with a degree in economics, and graduated right after 9/11. So I graduated in December of 2001, which is a really tough time in the job market, and managed to find my way into mortgage lending in February of 2002, and have been doing that ever since. So love helping people buy homes, refinance homes, work with a lot of real estate agents, lots of buyers, lots of sellers, that need help with financing to buy their next home, and have been learning a lot about AI. Recently wrote a book on artificial intelligence for real estate agents, how real estate agents can succeed with AI. I wrote that with my good friend and business partner, Mr. Lon Welsh. Excellent. I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about this, but just, have been doing loans for a long time, love talking about real estate. My new topic that I've been learning about for the last year is AI, so I'm excited to be here.
Heck yeah, man. That's awesome, dude. So yeah, I'd love to unpack that, man. You got quite the little history there. So you went to the School of Mines. So for those of you that are watching that don't know, this is a pretty prestigious school. You don't just stumble your way into this school. So tell us a little bit more about that and kind of how you got on that path and what that was like.
Yeah, so, my main goal going to college was to play football. And I started at Mesa State University in Grand Junction, and I was on a football scholarship, and things were going well, and made the transfer to School of Mines for the same reason that most bad decisions are made, is I made that transfer for a girl. I met a woman, and she was in school at CU Boulder, and I wanted to be closer to her. I could not qualify to play football at CU. And so started looking at other schools, applied to School of Mines, talked to the football coach. They were like, yep, we'd love to have you, and transferred to Mines. Degree in economics, which interestingly enough, at School of Mines, even with an economics degree, 40% of my education was in math and science,
okay,
40% in economics, and then 20% elective, which I chose computer science. And fortunately, in the mortgage world, I use my economics degree every single day.
Right,
Math and science I use in problem solving every single day. And computer science has come in really handy, and is coming in really handy now using AI.
Dude, that's awesome, man. So an economics degree and School of Mines, I mean, that's wild. So, I mean, don't you have to have a certain GPA and IQ to hit that school anyways, just because of the classification, right? It's a smart school, right? So
That's one of my biggest secrets is I'm actually smart. I try not to let that get out of the bag, but it is one of my biggest secrets.
dude, that's awesome. It's out now, man. Well, it's an honor to be able to jam out with someone like you, especially, the fact that we're both locally here in Denver. It was really awesome to get to present with you the other day and hearing you talk about AI. I was really excited to get you on the show just because obviously the show's kind of focused on AI and agents, but you're a player in the game, man. You've been doing this for a while. You've been with Castle and Cook now for quite a long time. And tell us kind of a little bit about how, like, what was that moment in your life when you were like, dude, I'm going to become a mortgage lender?
Oh, that's really simple. I needed a job. I was desperate for a job after graduating from high school. I no longer had a scholarship paying for anything. My parents loved me and they were like, you have now graduated. You are off the payroll. Good luck. Now, they were kind enough to let me move back into their home, but I needed the job and my parents weren't paying for anything. And I had fortunately done some internships at a couple of different mortgage companies.
Okay.
And I called the 20 to 25 people in my network that I had worked with during those internships. And within less than a week, I had an interview at a mortgage company, went to work there, learned a lot about underwriting, learned a lot about financial analysis, and, eventually moved into the sales side. And it's been the best move I could have ever made. 100% commission, 100% you eat what you kill. It's all on me to succeed, to make money, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So it's been a wonderful ride in the mortgage business and a tough business, just like real estate. It's hard because you're running basically your own organization.
Yeah.
And so I learned how to do that at the age of 23, I guess. And been doing that 22, 23 years now.
Dude, you're so dialed in at 23. You don't even want to know what I was doing at 23. Let's just say that I thought for sure, you couldn't argue with me on it, I was going to be famous, man. I was going to be a rock star. My band was actually cranking at that point in time. But yeah, you were officially licensed in 2002. Is that right?
That's right, 2002.
Nice.
Well,
yeah.
Actually, technically, no, because there wasn't even licensing back then. Back then, it was you just say, I'm a mortgage lender, and it's like, okay, you're a lender. So I actually did not get licensed until 2008 when Colorado instituted licensing. But one of the really fun things is my license number is really short. It's just 4 digits, 7538. And now, if you get a mortgage license, it's upwards of like 2.5 million. So my assistant always uses the joke. She's like, we're not really sure how long Joe's been in lending, but his license number is 4. So he's been around for a really long time.
Yeah, man, because I'm pretty sure your license number is the number of the license that they handed out, right? So yeah, mine, I'm like, and I don't even know what my MLS number is. Like 52 something 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 something, like it's all the way down there. And then my mentor, he's been in the business since the 80s, so his is all short as well.
His license number is like Roman numerals, right?
Yeah,
that's
pretty
how you can
much.
tell you're really old.
Yeah, dude. That's crazy though, because yeah, man. I mean, '02 was the year I was supposed to graduate. I didn't though. Dropped out in 10th grade because once again, I was gonna be famous, dude. I was gonna be a famous. Yeah, man. And I almost got there. I got pretty close. Lived a couple of dreams through, but in the end, man, I'm really happy the way that it turned out, which is kind of interesting because, you had mentioned before that you ended up, getting all these different areas of education through the School of Mines, but it ended up working out exactly like what it was meant to be for you to be a lender in the mortgage industry like you are now. And that's what I feel like happened here with music too. The road life sucks. It's not what you guys see on TV. So there's no big buses unless you're a big artist. We were in a Chevy G20 conversion van with 6 members plus our management crew. So 8 of us in this van, and it would be pretty tough to go out for a couple weeks at a time and struggle for rooms and showers and sleeping on people's floors. So it really sucked. And I had a kid back home, and my son was still pretty young, and just really started to quickly realize like this probably isn't going to be the best way to raise a kid, right? So 2014, threw in the towel. Realized real quickly, I was like, oh crap, man, I dropped out of high school for this, and now I'm choosing a whole different path. I have no college education. I have no GED. Like, well, what am I going to do? So I had 2 choices. could go work a front desk somewhere, get back into the call center, or I could start my own business. So went down that route. Best decision I ever made. Scariest decision I ever made. But you've been in lending since basically it. Did you ever hold any regular jobs, or have you always just been an entrepreneur?
I've pretty much always been an entrepreneur. I did for a short period of time. I worked for a company called Ace Mortgage for a real long time, and that went out of business in 2008, like a lot of other mortgage companies. And trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Do I want to stay in lending? Do I want to do something totally different? I went to work for US Bank, which was great. They were awesome. I got a job as a branch manager, and my branch was on Colfax and Monaco, which any of you that are not local to Denver, that is a more rugged area of town, we will say. And worked there for 9 months and got our branch to be the #1 branch in the region. And we were robbed 3 times. Dude. And after the 3rd time of being robbed, I was like, I'm going back to the mortgage world. It was just not, banking is kind of like being in the band. It's not as exciting as you might imagine. So that 9-month period is the only time that I have not been a commission-only entrepreneur.
Nice. Yeah, that's crazy. Mortgage has pretty much been your life since you were old enough to make your own decisions. That's wild. But I have to circle back, dude, because you can't just say you got robbed at a bank and not tell us the story.
Oh, dude, it was great. The same guy robbed us 3 times on the 1st of every month, 3 months in a row, for the same dollar amount.
No way.
They never caught the guy, but our theory was, so the guy would come in, and there's all sorts of training around bank robberies, and it is not like you see on TV. It happens all the time. There's probably 1 to 2 bank robberies in Denver every single week, and you just don't realize it.
Wow.
But this guy would come in and he would pass a note to the teller, and it said, I have a gun. Give me $1,457. And they're trained, right? They count out the money, hand it over. He walks out, they push the alarm button. All the doors go on lockdown, everything. And you have to lock everybody in. There's a whole investigation. The FBI comes, so it's like a 6-hour process before we can let everybody out. So you have, customers that are in there that are mad. It's a whole production. But our theory was, this was, again, it was 2009 at this time. There was a lot of foreclosures. Our theory was it was someone who had a mortgage with US Bank and couldn't pay the mortgage and was coming in and robbing us for his mortgage payment on the 1st of every month.
Wow, dude. And getting away with it. That's wild. I mean, I highly doubt it's probably significantly more difficult to get away with a bank robbery nowadays. But it's interesting. Yeah, the amount that he took almost seems like it was either for a mortgage or maybe a low enough amount to not really result in that big of a penalty, right? Because I know that the crime gets bigger the more you steal, right? So right. Totally crazy. Wild that they never caught him. Glad that you let him out and then locked the doors. That was the one thing that always blew my mind in the movies is they hit the thing, the door goes into lockdown, and now you just locked yourself inside the bank with a psychopath, right?
With a criminal. Now you're all in there together.
Talk about putting people's lives in danger. So right. That's awesome to hear that you guys let him out first, but that's wild, man. Did it ever happen to you specifically or just other tellers?
Nope. Never happened to me. Just happened to tellers. I was the manager, right? So I was always in a side office or at a desk or somewhere. But as soon as they hit the button, the alarms go off and you just stop whatever you're doing, go see what happened. And then, everybody's locked in for a while until the FBI gets there and begins their investigation. So it's an interesting experience if you've never been involved in a bank robbery. Not that I've ever robbed any banks, but I've been robbed a few times. So,
dude, that's wild. And you can only imagine if somebody like me walked in there to rob a bank and you were the teller, because guys, it's harder to see on camera, but Joe's not a small guy, right? I mean, he played college football. So you kind of go up and you're like, hey man, I got a gun. You're grab me over the desk, So I'd imagine that any robber would probably think twice before using you as the point of contact. So
yeah, no, I was pretty safe over my little office, but
right.
The poor ladies at the front, they took all the risk. That's for sure.
Yeah, man. Life as a bigger dude, it's totally different than as a little scrawny guy like myself, right? It's you're a lot more intimidating by nature in general, so you don't have to deal with some of the stuff that us little guys got to deal with. The little guys out there know what I'm talking about.
Well, maybe you could hire me to be your bodyguard. If this AI thing doesn't work out, or this mortgage thing doesn't work out for me, maybe I can get a job as being your bodyguard.
I'm like, guys, Joe's my bodyguard. Watch your mouth.
That's right.
That's awesome, dude. So yeah, man, this is great, dude. I'm super impressed by the fact that you got into the School of Mines. You seem to really kind of know what direction you wanted to take early on in life, which I just don't think that a lot of people in their 20s can say. My son's 17, he'll be 18 next month, and it's like, what do you want to do? He's like, I don't know, man. And it's like, he's going to get into real estate because he obviously sees the potential inside of it. But it's like, I told him, like, let me teach you how to run a business for a couple of years. And then you can take this knowledge and go do anything that you want, right? Whether that's to become a successful video game streamer or whatever, because I think a lot of kids are going to start capitalizing on that. I've been doing quite a bit of research, and just with technology now, especially with AI, dude. There's kids out there that are like 18 years old that are running faceless YouTube channels, making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year doing it right now.
It's wild. Yeah, I've read up on some of that stuff. I'm like, why am I here slinging loans if I could figure out how to do faceless YouTube and have 1 million viewers? I'm like, but who watches that stuff? But apparently somebody does.
Dude, I do. Like, I watch all this outer space stuff on YouTube at night to kind of wind me down. And 9 times out of 10, I'm halfway through and I'm like, oh my God, this is totally an AI. Because you just see all these little images of space, and they have these little B-roll videos, and there's mainly a narration in the background just kind of explaining things. And then you start to catch on. You're like, oh man, I've literally been listening to an AI. And you look down and the video's got like 5 million views. You hit the page, they've got like 400,000, 500,000 subscribers. And it's like, wow, man, like the potential that we have with this technology to do things beyond what we could even possibly imagine. It's just going to be a very interesting next decade. I'd be lying if I said when I'm sitting here building out all these AI systems for agents, I don't see that advertisement in the background that's like, hey man, you could build an entire AI company. And I'm like, dude, I'm going to do that. I literally was going to build an AI Shopify agent that would basically find products for drop shipping, post them onto my Shopify store, do all the advertising for me, do all of the shipping or not shipping, but do all of the whatever they call that, the
processing.
There we go. Yeah. They'll do all the processing for it to where all I have to do is kind of oversee it and not really worry about all the manual. And now we're seeing like apps like Lovable AI coming out where you can build entire websites around this stuff. So it's going to change the game for humanity in general. Like Sunjay Patar said at the CEO of Google, he's like, this is going to be bigger than the invention of fire, or not the invention, but the discovery of fire for humans. So
I think he's right. I think we're like on the bleeding edge of something that is going to change. And 10 years from now, we're going to come back and we're going to listen to this podcast and be like, oh my God, we didn't know anything. We were so clueless, right? We feel like we're ahead of the game. And in 10 years, we're going to look back and be like, we didn't know anything about what was coming.
Yeah, it's wild, man. And it's changing so rapidly. Like just looking back at the last couple of years, and we're calling things like ChatGPT 3.5 ancient technology, right? Like it's nuts what this is going to do. So that's really the thing that excites me the most. I'm sure, do you get a lot of guff? Because I know you're pretty into the AI thing and you talk a lot about it. Do you run into these agents like I do and these other professionals that are like, no, I'm not interested in helping anything take my job?
You know what? The answer to that is no. I actually talk with a lot of agents. I mean, I talk with anywhere from 200 to 300 real estate agents a month. And actually, I won't say everybody's excited about it. I would say everybody's curious about it and not sure what to do, which I think we're going to talk about that with your coaching program and a lot of stuff you do. There's so many things that people are like, well, I want to learn about it, but it's an overwhelming topic. I want to do something because I know it's important, but I don't know what to do. So surprisingly enough, I don't get anybody that just says, I'm not adopting it. I'm not even reading up on it. Everybody's really curious, but also everybody's a little bit lost, which is part of the reason why we wrote the book, which is very basic, but it's for real estate agents to just dip your toe in the water and start exploring on a couple of the things that you can do with AI.
Yeah, 100%. And it's not really a choice at this point, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, you obviously can make the choice to adopt it or not, but yeah, I've had a few, not very many, but I've had a few that are very concerned about job placement and disruptions in the industry and stuff like that. And then we got a couple of people in the group pretty wound up when you heard that I think it was the agent in Argentina. They said that they had an AI agent close the deal. and looked into it, and it wasn't like that at all. It was the exact augmented process that we implement in our business every day. It handled the mundane while they did the relationship. A live person did the showings, a live person did the closing. It's just having the AI handle all of that back end stuff that, quite frankly, we're all tired of doing if you've been in this industry for more than a few years, right?
Yeah,
So, and
absolutely.
somebody like you who's pushing on, what'd you say, almost 30 years doing this, like that mundane stuff gets really old really quick. So I can only imagine that, you know, as you see this technology starting to come to fruition, you're like, all right, it's about time. Let's get this stuff going, because it costs a lot of money to have somebody else do some of this stuff for us.
That's right. That's so true. Like I used to have a team of 16 people. Now, due to some market factors and various things, I've trimmed that team down to myself plus 3. But with what I've learned from AI, as the market has picked back up in the recent 3 months, I haven't had to hire another assistant. I've been able to automate a lot of the stuff that previously I had to have an assistant do. Not that I'm trying to eliminate any jobs. I'm not going to lay off any of the ladies that still work for me, but I may not have to hire as much in the future as volume continues to improve, because ChatGPT or derivations thereof can do the work for us.
Absolutely.
At a heck of a lot lower price.
Yeah. I mean, you and your team of 3, especially with all of you trained on AI, can do the job with AI of a team of 20 plus. Like that's how big and how significant this is going to be able to be, especially as we go into agentic AI. Right? Like right now we're still very limited. And it's funny to even say this out loud, because we went from not having access to this technology to having access to being like, well, it's going to get better, you know, because right now it is still pretty static. Right? Like we have to prompt ChatGPT to do stuff. We have to prompt it correctly, most importantly. Otherwise you get a bunch of hallucinated and misinformed answers. But on the second side of that, it's like, well, it would be awesome if this could actually, you know, navigate an entire website, navigate to a different website, you know, perhaps maybe go ahead and upload my blog to my website for me. And that's where we're on the brink of right now. AI agents are happening this year. I think they've been rolling out this whole year, but it's kind of like a new technology and not a lot of people really know how to use it. So, you know, it's very expensive too. Like OpenAI's operators on the pro plan. So you need $250 a month or $200 a month on that. And, you know, other things like Manus came out. Have you played on Manus yet?
I've not. I'm a ChatGPT disciple. So outside of that and some of the research we did on Copilot and Gemini and Claude for the book, I'm a ChatGPT disciple, but need to get more in depth than some of the other ones. So tell me about Manus. I'd love to learn about it.
Yeah. So Manus is basically an agentic AI platform where you can actually have it go out and do stuff. So like we did an SEO audit on my business the other day, where it's a very simple prompt too. And one of the cool things is Manus actually has templates inside to help you get started with it. So this is like no code. So it's not complicated. Anybody can use it. Like anything new, it'll take a second to get used to it. But it basically pulls my website up, navigates through my entire website, internalizes that information, and then looks at the back end of the website inside the HTML, goes in, looks at all the SEO, and then creates a website for me. Like this is all like single action, go ahead and run this process. And it goes through and does all this, builds a comprehensive website out for me that tells me all of my strengths and weaknesses in my SEO and where I need to improve on it. And dude, like that SEO audit is done in Manus, and you can even do it like right now. They're giving stuff out for free. Like they just opened it. It was in beta and only for limited people. And I signed the wait list. I signed up on the wait list like 4 or 5 months ago, and they finally let us in like a few weeks back. But now I just keep getting like additional credits so I can continue to use it for free. But it's eventually going to be like $35 a month. Right. I think you can still pay for it now if you want to just dive into it. But that process right there would have cost me thousands of dollars to get for my website that I got for a free trial on Manus. And it's just insane what we're going to be able to do. So yeah, I'm pumped for the agentic AI to be coming into more practical applications, because that's really one of the complicated things with it right now is we know what these can do, but now it's going to take innovators like you and like me to go out there and say, okay, let's figure out how to apply this. And then once that word starts to spread, it'll become common practice inside the industry, a lot like ChatGPT did, right?
Yeah. Well, let me share with you what you just mentioned about using an AI agent. So I know you have a lot of different folks that listen to this, but let me share with you something I've been doing manually that I don't have finished yet, but I'm getting really close. So I have a group of real estate agents that I work with. that are signed up through a platform with me called Rate Plug. And what that does is it sends me an email every day, and we'll use you as an example.
Okay.
It says, hey, Adam has a new listing at 123 Main Street. Here's details on it. You should call him and see if there's anything he can do to help, see if he needs a flyer, etc.
Okay.
So I'm working on creating an AI agent that I can take that email, and it has you and Bob and Jimmy and everybody's new listings for the day. I'm going to forward that to the AI agent. It's going to create the flyer within Canva that is, here's today's rate, here's a picture of the property, here's school information, here's information about the neighborhood, here's financing options, here's your picture, your logo, your information, Joe's picture, Joe's logo, Joe's information, and then emails that to the real estate agent. And right now we're doing all of that manually every single day. And the next iteration is right now manually, I call, hey, Adam, congratulations on your listing at 123 Main Street. Do you need anything? How can I help? But my next iteration on the AI agent is for it to then make that phone call and say, hey, Adam, this is Bob. I'm Joe Massey's digital assistant calling you about your new listing on 123 Main Street. I just emailed over a flyer. Did you get it? Do you have any questions for Joe? Anything we can help? And I'm about 70% of the way through that project, getting it to where that's going to remove 2 hours worth of work that I do every single day. That's going to be replaced by an AI agent that's going to do a better, faster, and more clear job than I already do on my own. So thinking about like Manus and some of the other things, there's so many different applications that you can use once you learn how to use these tools.
Absolutely. Yeah. And think about that. That's 10 hours a week you save
Yeah,
off one agent, right?
that's right.
So as you start thinking about swarming your business with multiple agents, think about creating agents for each individual task. Like, dude, it's going to come to a point to where, for the most part, minus building relationships and closing deals, your business is going to be ran fully on automation. And that's a wonderful thing. Yeah. Like, I think that'd be music to every single realtor and mortgage broker and title company and even the tech geeks that sometimes watch my show. That's music to everybody's ears, because this is this is why, it's the great equalizer. This is the one thing that is going to allow normal people to operate on $1 billion level.
I think you're exactly right. The scalability for an individual that has an iPhone, a laptop, and an internet connection, it is through the roof what that individual can do on their own without having to hire anybody else. And that wasn't true 5 years ago. Probably wasn't even true 3 years ago.
No.
But the level that you can now scale as an individual operator is going to go up exponentially.
Absolutely. Quicker than we know. So this is what makes it so important to adopt it now. Notoriously, the real estate industry is about 10 to 15 years behind technology, but I don't think it is in this case.
I agree.
I'm not the only lender or the only realtor out there. You're not the only lender out there that has discovered that this is a game changer. And the more of us that adopt it, the quicker, the harder it's going to be to catch up to us when you finally do adopt it. So like I said earlier, it's not really a choice. It's more of like, when are you going to make the plunge? When are you going to jump in and do it? And, there's guys like me and Joe out here that have tried to simplify that process for you. So I know that you wrote that book with Lon, and Lon is an awesome guy. And for those of you guys, part of my 10 brokerage since 2017 run, I was over at Your Castle Realty with Joe, and I was on a team over there with Blaine Harvey. I know he's still over there running Colorado. Yeah, dude. So that was wild. But back then I had no idea really. I was just still trying to get my production wings going, But yeah, Lon has since retired, right? Well, he's still active, but he's basically hanging out at the beach house from what I hear, huh?
Pretty much. Yeah. I went on vacation with him about a month ago to his beach house in Florida. And
Nice.
I had to joke with him. I'm like, this is great living the retired lifestyle, right? We'd get up in the morning, hang out, take a walk with the ladies on the beach. Then we would go to the gym for like 2 hours, then go play golf, then go, to a roadside crab shack, get some food, go home, have some drinks, and do it all over again the next day. I was like, is this what retired life is like? And he's like, Joe, I'm not retired. I still work. I'm like, this is pretty nice, Lon. This is pretty sweet, man.
Semi-retired, right?
Yeah, he's definitely still very active with Ironton Capital. He's also still active at Your Castle, and helps me write books, or I help him write books, depending on the topic.
Excellent. Yeah, no, I love that, man. And we'll make sure to toss a link in the description to that book. So if you're a new agent and you just kind of want to get your hands around something with AI without diving into memberships and subscriptions, which will come your way eventually, like this is a perfect place to start, right? You jump in, you can read this book, you can get a basic understanding of what AI is and how it can help you, and then you can make better and more informed decisions, which is the exact thing that we try to do to our clients. And we want to try to do that for you guys out there in real estate land, because it is pretty intimidating. Like I spend 20 to 30 hours a week just doing AI research on the developer level and figuring out how we can implement it in AI and relaying that out. And that takes a lot of time, and it's a very overwhelming feeling. Like I'm telling you, when you take 2 days off just to hang out with the family and you come back and you feel like you've been out of the industry for 10 years because so much happened over the weekend, it's pretty, it's overwhelming. So the goal is to reduce that overwhelm, try to help steer you guys in the right direction so you can focus on what's actually going to make a difference in your business, because there is a lot of fluff out there right now. A lot of apps that are just basically Chat GPT, but in a different interface, and somebody's charging you for it. So not saying that you're a victim if you purchase into that, but 9 times out of 10, you can do it for a simple $20 a month Chat GPT subscription and save having 5 to 10 other apps that are just Chat GPT that you're paying $20 a month to. So I think my whole AI stack right now is $60 a month. And I use this stuff like more than most of the people I know. And it's just proof that you don't have to be spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month to access AI. You can have $60 a month and have it helping over 80% of your business. You can experience compounded time savings to an extent to where it almost feels like you're ditching work, but stuff's still getting done.
Yeah, you're spot on. My AI stack is $20 a month. It's $20 for Chat GPT, $20 for 11 Labs voice clone, and $20 for make.com to create a lot of the automations. And that's it. And that's a really important point that we cover in the book, is everything in the book you can do with the free plan of Chat GPT. If you upgrade to the $20 a month plan, you get some more things, you get more memory. It'll learn your mannerisms and your writing style a little bit better. But if you're curious and you're just getting started, just go to ChatGPT and just get the free plan. You don't have to spend a ton of money for this to start making an impact. And that's one of the big messages in the book, is just start trying it.
Yeah, 100%. That's how I got where I got. November of 2022, man. It's like, what's this stuff? And it was just like, all right, let's see if it works, you know? And a lot of it does. Some of it doesn't, but a lot of it does. And it just starts with, you know, understanding what these large language models are capable of. And that foundation can be learned in your book, and it can also be learned in Apex Lead AI. So once you read the book and you've played around with ChatGPT a bit and you're ready to level up with some mastermind calls and courses and all that stuff that you need for real estate, well, that's where Apex comes in. So yeah, man, this is awesome, dude. I had a couple more things I want to jam out about, but we're doing good on time. All right. Yeah, we're still doing pretty good on time. So now let's fast forward to where we're at now. You've been recognized as a top 500 loan originator nationwide by National Mortgage. You're a senior loan officer for Castle and Cook, which is, you know, a nationwide lender, right? So you're licensed in all 50 states?
Not personally. I'm licensed in Colorado, New Mexico, Wyoming, and Nebraska. So I just handle this region for us. And we're licensed in 48 of the 50 states. We don't do New York and Massachusetts.
I don't blame you.
Odd laws.
Just kidding.
Yeah. Outside of that, we can help you anywhere. It might not be me helping you, but somebody on my team can help just about anywhere in the U.S.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. So, there's just so much to unpack on this, dude, because I want to dive a little bit deeper into exactly like what your experience is on loans. Because when we were speaking, you were talking about doing some kind of non-conventional stuff too. Like you're working with investors, you're working with flippers, like all that stuff. So it's not just traditional mortgage through you. Is that right?
That's exactly right. Yeah. A large percentage of our business is the normal stuff, right? Just a regular homeowner who wants to buy their first property. They have saved up 5, 10, 20% down. Fantastic. We love those. Those are easy. We're kind, we're friendly, we're efficient, we're quick. But then we also have a really good reputation of, I'm the guy you call when somebody else screws up. So we get a lot of what I call rescue deals.
Okay.
That somebody's been working with another lender. Maybe it's somebody that doesn't have a ton of experience, and the loan officer just can't get it done for one reason or another. That's actually what I was doing immediately prior to this recording. Is I was on the phone. Somebody said, hey, we're having this problem. What do you know about this? I pulled up the FHA guidelines, go right to that section. I'm like, the information you're getting is wrong. I will give you this information, take it back to that lender. If they can't figure out how to get this done, call me. I'll close this for you in 10 days. Nice. So we have a really good reputation of just picking up the ball after somebody else fumbles it and making sure that the buyer still gets to buy that property. And then the other thing you mentioned, 35% of our clients are investors. We help people build really sizable real estate portfolios, starting with ground zero. If you don't have anything yet, you're buying your first home, that's okay. We'll help you buy that home. Then we'll help you use some of the equity to buy the next home, and then the next one, and the next one, and the next one. I've helped more than 50 clients start at zero and build up to a portfolio of 10 properties or greater, creating all of them millions of dollars of real estate wealth. And that is something that I love doing, and coaching and holding people's hands through that and turning people into millionaires through real estate. It's a lot of fun. I love to see their success. They do a lot of the work, right? I'm just providing the loans and the advice, but being able to help somebody along that journey is something I really enjoy, and I think is unique to my experience and the time that I've been doing it, right? It takes time to do things like that, but it's one of my favorite journeys that I get to take clients on.
Yeah, that's awesome, man, and huge, dude. It's more than just selling houses, right? It's more than just doing loans. It's helping people realize their dream. It's a well-known saying that the easiest way to $1 million is through real estate, and this is kind of what you get to help facilitate people with. I feel the exact same way, as not as a lender, but as a realtor. Like my job is to help educate and inform the client about the process of purchasing real estate so they can make good decisions. So you team that up with somebody who's just as knowledgeable and tech forward. Like that's going to be key, guys. If you haven't figured it out yet, if you're not a techie agent, you need to be, right? And I don't mean techie
you're gonna
as
fall behind.
Yeah, you're going to fall behind. And when I say techie, I'm not saying like, oh, you better go to tech school and learn how to code. Like coding's done. Like coding is not a thing anymore. Like now the big thing is vibe coding. So if you haven't heard that word before, vibe coding, it's basically having ChatGPT or another large language model build your code for you and then implementing it into Python or whatever and testing it out and just keep refining it that way. But like this isn't going to be hard to implement this stuff. This is designed for everyday people. And when you learn how to use it on a sophisticated way, you can plan your business with it. You can execute on project management plans. You can, use it for social media content. You can use it to scrape personality profile statistics. There's so much that you can do with it that it's almost, especially as a fiduciary, I tell this to a lot of my clients. It's like, look, like you're a fiduciary to your client when they sign that buyer agency agreement. So if you know that there's technology out there that can enhance the user experience and give them more information, and you choose not to use that, how do you stand in front of the division and claim that you were being a fiduciary?
Right? That's a really good question. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's that important, right? Like, take for example, like I talk about this a lot, but one of the coolest things that I did with AI when I first started using it was the house that I had under contract in the industrial zone. Right? Like they did not want to go out. The appraiser said, no, we're not going out there. It's not going to be a highest and best use. So we're done here. And 99% of agents would have probably accepted that fact, told their buyer the bad news. Hey, sorry, I know we already paid for an inspection, but this is what the appraiser said. And they, unfortunately won't listen to us. Instead, I take it into AI. I drop in the entire zoning rep manual for Adams County and I tell it my story. I just chat with it. Now, obviously I primed it to become an attorney first and do all of that, but it picks through the manual, finds exactly what we need to know, writes the letter, email it off. The appraiser's like, okay, you're right. We'll go out, and then it appraises. So if I would have known this technology existed and chosen not to do that and just told my client that, oh, we got to go find a new house, I failed, dude. I failed as a realtor right there. Big time.
You were not operating in their best interest if you let them just go along without exploring all avenues. So this is such a great example. Maybe the answer would have still been no, but you explored all the avenues because that's part of your fiduciary responsibility. And what do you know? You found a path to a yes. And that's by using the tools available to you, which is really, really smart. I applaud you for that one. I love that success story.
Heck yeah, man. Yeah. It beats reading through that 800-page manual, trying to sit there and, okay, what chapter do I need to be on? Where's this grandfather clause going to be located? And it found stuff that just kind of helped as more ammunition on it that I didn't even think about, right? Like minimum lot size requirement for industrial zoning. So in Adams County, it was 2 acres in this area. Well, the property wasn't 2 acres. So it was already not qualified for that unless it was basically being absorbed by the property next door, right? And so it was one of those things where at the end of the search, I had so much ammunition that there was no fight from the appraisal company. They were like, "You're right, we're going." Right? And that was what it took, and my client was stoked. He was like, "Oh my gosh," because at first, obviously, I'm like, "Hey man, we might have an issue here, dude. Like, let me see what I can do, and then I'll get back to you." And when I got back to him, I'm like, "Hey man, they're gonna go out." He's like, "No way." And then of course I tell him, I'm like, "Dude, ChatGPT, man, I pulled it in there. I didn't want to read through the 800-page manual myself. I just stick it in there, and it figures it all out." And that's like, think about the amount of work it would have taken, the time that it would have taken to do that research and type that email out. Right. This whole process.
You might not have even found it, right? You're a smart guy, but you might not have the expertise to have found that in the 800-page Adams County zoning manual.
Right. It's all written in legalese. So if you guys haven't read legalese before, you know what I'm talking about. Just go pick up a contract or read your YouTube terms of service. It's in a complicated language, and I think they do it on purpose, obviously. Well, I mean, it's for clarity, but it's not clear to the normal people. ChatGPT can read right through that. Gemini can read right through that. And, as this continues to get even better and better, there's no reason to be doing it. Like right now, I will take an HOA manual for a buyer. I'll upload it in a Notebook LM, and I'll generate the audio overview, make sure it goes completely detailed on it. And I'll shoot that off to them and be like, "Hey, nobody reads the HOA manuals, but here, you can listen to it in 15 minutes.
Yeah,
right?
I love that. Let me add one thought here on being a fiduciary.
Yeah.
So here's a really interesting one that I see is, because I'm a lender, I get to view the negotiations between buyer, seller, buyer's agent, listing agent. I kind of get to view that from like an outsider's perspective. Right. And I'll see it sometimes where one party's a really good negotiator and the other party maybe is inexperienced or not as good of a negotiator. And I'm an independent third party, right? I'm not negotiating on anybody's behalf. I'm just providing a loan. But here's something you might think about. If you find yourself that, hey, I'm new, or I've got somebody out negotiating me on the other side, here's a way you can use ChatGPT to further your fiduciary experience. Upload the email chain from the other side, upload a copy of the contract, and say, hey, these are the items that my buyer really wants. I'm having trouble negotiating to get these results. I want you, ChatGPT, to act as a certified negotiation expert with 30 years of negotiating experience and help me craft a compelling message that I can send via email and via over the phone to help negotiate this transaction for my buyer. Now, I probably wouldn't just straight copy that and put it into an email, but you can use it to help get some training. You can use it to help think through problems, even if they're interpersonal problems that you're having with somebody on the other side. Yeah. And what a lot of agents do is they just say, well, the other agent's just pushing really hard. Sorry, we're not going to get that seller concession. Well, if you've got a tool that can help you negotiate, are you really fulfilling your fiduciary duties if you're not using that tool?
Very good question, right? Like I always say, at the end of the day, if you had to stand in front of the division, are you sure you can prove it, right? Are you sure you can prove that you were doing everything that you could do? And that's actually one of the things that we talk about in Agent Prompt University, which is my basic A to Z course for AI and real estate, for real estate agents, is we use an app called Crystal Knows. And Crystal Knows will basically, it's a web extension on the Google Chrome, and it will pull up, and it works really well with agents. It's not as well for some buyers, especially some of the elderly that aren't very visible online. But most of us agents are visible right now, right? So what this is going to do is it's going to scrape your social media profile, and it's going to take all of your posts, and it's going to look at all of your commenting and all of that stuff that it can see through that, and it's going to determine your disc profile. I take that disc profile, we put it into ChatGPT, and I say, hey, I need you to give me the absolute best negotiation strategy based on this person's disc, right?
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
And it's sick, dude, because then we're going into a subconscious level of communication with them, right? If you're a driver, then I'm going to speak to you the way a driver needs to be spoke to. If you're, you know, an influencer, same thing there. If you're conscientious type, I'm probably going to slow down a little bit, you
A
know,
little
but
softer. Yeah.
exactly. So I'll upload that into there and it'll say, okay, let's use this strategy. It's like, all right, well, I'm going to probably be doing this negotiation over the phone because, guys, I'm telling you right now, stop negotiating over email. Just do it in person. You get better
I
results.
agree.
There's
I
certain things
agree.
that you can text and email, and negotiations for your clients is not one of them.
Not one of
Going
them.
back to the fiduciary thing, could you really say you did your best if you're not able to use 100% of your communication, right? And it's so limited in email and text. I will try to meet with you or hit you up on Zoom so we can use each other's body language as well.
I
But
love
what I'll
that
do
idea.
before that convo is I'll go into advanced voice mode on ChatGPT after I trained it on all the disc information. I'll say, all right, cool. Now I want you to act as my as the person I'm negotiating against, and let's role play. Let me try to convince you what I want to do, and you're going to tell me where I'm going wrong and how I can improve. And then I'll be ready to go. So then I actually implement an actual coach. And if you guys haven't used advanced voice mode, it's legit. It's like talking to somebody, man. So it actually works really well as a coach. You can get this figured out. You can go over objection handlers, and then you can say, all right, I'm ready for the call, or I'm ready to meet. You go in there, you start talking with them on their subconscious level. Like, we're not manipulating people here. I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea. But all I'm doing is adjusting what it is that my client wants into a frame that your personality likes, which, you know what it's done for me, Joe? I'm friends with more agents than I've ever been after these negotiations.
Yes.
Like, that's the biggest thing, is they're like, dang, like, this dude's working with me. And there's two types of agents really that I've found inside of real estate. There's the agent that thinks that we work together to come to a deal. And there's an agent who thinks that we work against each other and somebody's going to get the best deal. And you can take those agents that are working against you and turn them into a collaborator and somebody that's willing to work without violating fiduciary duties, but you get to the end result in a much cleaner fashion, and everybody feels better about it.
And guess what? That agent's going to be more likely to take your contract on the next listing, right?
Yes.
Because you've now got a new friend, you've got a new collaborator. That agent's going to be much more excited when they see your name again, which makes you an even better agent for your future clients because you're building a big network of friends. I love this.
Yeah, 100%, man. And it's an unpopular fact, but the reality is that, let's say you're a buyer or a home seller and you hire an agent, and that agent's been around for 30 years. That agent's been crushing the game, right? You get an offer from an agent who's not very good to work with. Is it your fiduciary duty to advise your seller? Right? Hey, just FYI, this offer is great. However, here's my previous experience with working with this. You're the decision maker, so you can choose to accept this offer. But in the past, I've had this issue, and this issue. And I just want you to have that knowledge and that information before we move forward. So being a collaborative agent and getting along with the other agents that you're working with can actually affect what happens on the next offer you make. Like you said, dude, like, it's not like they're going to make the decision based off of that. That would be wrong. But it's our duty to inform them how this transaction could potentially go. And if you and I have done 3 transactions in the past and they were all very, very messy, like, damn right, I'm going to tell my client, like, hey, man, I've done a couple deals with this guy. He's very, very hardballed. Like, they're not really going to cave. He's going to push around. Like, just want to let you know, I can obviously negotiate you through this, but just strap in for this one. This could be intense. And sometimes they may be like, hey, you know what? We've only been on the market for a couple of days. Let's see if something else comes in.
Let's wait.
Let's wait.
You know, something you said that I loved is the role playing and the advanced language or the advanced voice mode with ChatGPT. We actually have an entire chapter in the book that talks about role playing. So whether you're a brand new real estate agent or you're an experienced real estate agent, you can use ChatGPT to practice and role play. And in all of the agent trainings that I've done for the last 20 plus years, that's one of the number one pieces that we share with people is you need to role play. You need to practice. Tiger Woods has a coach. Barry Bonds has a coach, right? Tom Brady has a coach. They don't just walk out on the golf course or the football field and expect to win. And you shouldn't do the same thing. You should be practicing your listing presentations. You should be role playing your buyer presentations. And sometimes it's uncomfortable to do with a friend or it's uncomfortable to do with your spouse.
Yeah.
You don't have to go through that uncomfortableness anymore. Get on to ChatGPT. That thing will role play with you until you're blue in the face.
Yeah.
And you'll be a really, really good presenter and a really, really good negotiator if you practice a little bit. So I love that advice, Adam.
Yeah, 100%, man. 99% of agents that don't role play don't do it because of the awkwardness, right? Everybody that's an agent that's been in this business for a little bit longer than a year or so has been in an office where you round table role play, and it's awkward, dude. Like, I love it personally because,
I do too. I love it, man, because it's a great way to practice. I love it, but most people hate it.
But most people hate it. Yeah, dude, I was on a Zillow team, and we would literally listen back to each other's calls in the meetings and then critique it, right? Agents would straight go strawberry red, dude, hand in their face, like so embarrassed. And like, I would tell them like, hey, none of us care. Like, this is all just for you to learn. But if you listen back to yourself in a conversation and you're cringing, guess what? They were too.
Yeah.
Right.
Here's something else you could do that, as you said that. So when I was early in the mortgage business, we used to have to record our phone calls and then go sit with our manager, and he would listen to it. Hey, you messed up on this. You did a really great job here. You fouled up on this, whatever it might be. And we had to learn and get better. Well, now if you don't have a manager, because a lot of real estate agents are just solopreneurs, as I like to call them,
right?
You can use the new feature on your iPhone to record the phone call. And it'll tell the other person, hey, we're recording this, but you just say, hey, I record all my phone calls, so that I can train and get better. Then you save that recording, upload it to ChatGPT and say, hey, I'd like you to listen to this phone call of me speaking to a new buyer or a new seller. I'd like you to be critical. I'd also like some feedback that's positive and negative, and tell me where I can improve. And I guarantee you ChatGPT will spit out a dozen areas that you did well and a dozen areas that you need to get better. And guess what? You're going to get better if you follow that advice.
100%. And then top it off at the end and say, all right, now that let's work on the areas I need improvement with, starting on the first suggestion. Go back into role play with it. Right.
Yep.
It's absolutely wild. I have a GPT or instructions on how to create a GPT for the members inside of Apex that will literally, because we had a bunch of people that are like, yeah, I'm going to start knocking on FSBOs again. I want to start going and getting FSBOs. It's like, great, let's build a FSBO coach, right? Who's the number one dude in the FSBO spot in the entire industry? In my opinion, it's Brandon Mulrennan, right? So what we do is it's like, hey, ChatGPT, are you familiar with Brandon Mulrennan's style of selling for sale by owners? Yep, sure am. Great. I need you to act as an advanced or a PhD level psychologist and role play with me as a FSBO owner. And I want you to use advanced neurolinguistic programming against me, make it extremely difficult, and help me go through with the Brandon Mulrennan method to try to convince you to book an appointment. Right. And it'll be like, all right, dope, let's go. And dude, it's crazy. I've done this a lot. Sometimes I can get it to book an appointment and other times I can't. And at the end of it, it's like, here's why I didn't book the appointment with you. Right. This is information you could never get anywhere else. Right.
Yeah. No FSBO is going to give you that feedback of, okay, thanks for pitching me for 20 minutes. Here's why I said no. They're just eventually going to be done with the conversation. They're not giving you that feedback. What a great tool. I love that idea.
Yeah, it's amazing. It'll change the game. And if you're worried about talking, and I even tell my son this, dude, because he's an introvert and he's like, how am I going to sell real estate if I don't like to talk to people? I'm like, we'll start talking to ChatGPT. You'll get pretty used to it. I think that you can get the same type of interactional experience as door knocking on ChatGPT if you know how to program it right.
Yep. And one thing I'll tell your son, tell him to call me. Tell him to call me and practice his Ford calls. Man, I'm like a super safe individual. I'll be a friendly client. I'll be a difficult client. I'll hang up the phone on him. I love role playing. So when he needs practice, tell him to call me.
Heck yeah, dude.
I'm a great person to practice.
Yeah, we'll do it, man. He's going to be diving deep here in the spring. He just graduated this year, so I'm going to give him the summer to play around. But after that, we're getting to work, man. So you know it, dude. We'll be stopping by the office and doing some in-person role plays, dude.
I love it, man. I love it.
Heck yeah, man. Well, dude, I've had so much fun jamming out with you. Before we go, I want you to be able to tell people where they can find your book. I know, do you have another podcast as well? Not sure if you have a community, but yeah, tell people where they can find you, what kind of stuff you can offer them, and let's close this one out right, dude.
Absolutely. So a couple different things. Number one, you can get a copy of our book, How Real Estate Agents Can Succeed with Artificial Intelligence. You can get that on Amazon. The link will be down below. It's 99 cents for the Kindle version, $6.97 for the paperback version. I would love it if you guys want to get one, read it, skim through it, give me a 5-star review. Those reviews really help. You can check me out on my website, loansbyjoemassey.com. you can always email me, jmassey@castlecookmortgage.com. The other thing that I do, I just give out my phone number, and everybody's always afraid of giving out their phone number because of spam. I want people calling me. You can call me anytime, 303-809-7769. And then the last tip I'll give you, I do have a podcast channel. It is the Mile High Real Estate Success Podcast. And Adam, I think you're going to love this. So I've interviewed over the last 15 years more than 10,000 real estate agents.
Nice.
And I took all of the notes from those, which I had hundreds of pages of notes, and uploaded all of those to ChatGPT. And I said, I want you to review these and give me 50 topics for podcasts. It spits out the topics. I said, okay, now I want you to give me bullet points on each topic. It spits those out. I said, great. Now I want you to write a podcast for each one of these. And so it gives me a podcast script on open houses, a podcast script on FSBOs, a podcast script on luxury homes, things like that. Then what did I do? I took all of those scripts, uploaded those to 11 Labs in my voice, and I now have 7 to 10-minute podcast episodes that are just bite-sized chunks of open houses, out-of-state buyers, luxury listings, whatever, that are a compilation of more than 10,000 real estate agent interviews. And those podcasts go out every Tuesday and every Thursday. And guess how long it took me? About 2 hours to record 50 podcasts. It is nothing fancy like this, but it is tips and tricks that you'll need to know. And I used AI for the entire thing. And I think it sounds about 97% like me. But the most important thing for real estate agents out there, these are tips and ideas that are a culmination of thousands of real estate agent interviews. And I hope that it would be useful for you. So again, it's the Mile High Real Estate Success Podcast. And I would love it if you guys would check that out. And if you don't like it, you're like, this sounds like AI, tell me that too. But I think it's pretty good.
Heck yeah. No, that's dope, guys. And for those of you that are out there that want to do something like this and are afraid of the camera or are afraid of doing it or slipping up, you guys watch me mess up all the time. This is a good way to get started. This is a good way to still do things. You know, 11 Labs is a great company. I know that they just upped their voice model too pretty recently, so it's getting much better. It's always been pretty good, but there are those little AI nuances that you hear. I think my biggest issue with 11 Labs, and I use HeyGen as well for the avatars, is the vocal inflection, right? Like sometimes I want a little bit more energy in it, but it's getting much, much better. And this is a great way to do things. I got a buddy, his name's Kyle Mark. He's a badass out of Vancouver. And dude, he does like market updates with his AI avatar on YouTube, and you can barely tell it's AI. Like I think the only people that'll know it's AI are people like us that watch it all day. But think about it like this. Right now, where we sit, this is the worst the technology is ever going to be. It can only get better from now. So I'm excited to see where we go, especially with Google's VO3 out now and Flow. And I don't know if you watched much of the I/O update from Google last week, but it was intense, man. Over 100 different new AI apps that are coming out. And a lot of them are going to change the game. VO basically broke the internet. It's like nobody's going to talk about Sora after this. It's going to be nuts. So dive into this AI, guys. Check it out. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me. You can reach out to Joe. We use this technology every single day, and it's absolutely been game changing, which is why I'm the AI guy now. And this is all I ever want to do and talk about because it's that big of a deal in this industry. So Joe, once again, brother, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Before we go, you're on socials too, right? Where do you want us to find you if we want to hit you up on social?
Yeah, my social handle is the same on every platform. It's J Massey Lending. You can find me on, let's see, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and I'm leaving one out, LinkedIn.
All five, the powerful five, right?
Yeah,
exactly, dude.
I would love to chat with anybody. And Adam, thank you, man. I could talk about this stuff all day long. You know, I feel like we're just getting warmed up here. So thank you for making the time. Thanks for involving me in your course and letting me be a part of getting the message out, because I really agree with you. AI is going to be game changing, and the people that embrace it and adopt it, their business is going to take off exponentially. And I want to get this message out to as many people as possible, because I think the world needs more great lenders and needs more great real estate agents. And this is a way that we can become better and better and just continue to improve our industry. So thank you for making the time. I'm really grateful for it.
Couldn't have said it better myself, brother. Yeah, thank you so much, man. You enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll have you back on the podcast soon, man. All right, guys, and that is a wrap on today's episode. Joe Massey just dropped straight facts on what it actually takes to win with lending in today's market. 20 plus years in the game, ranked in the top 1% nationwide, and still ahead of the curve using AI to streamline deals and support his agents, partners better than ever. Now, if you're an agent watching this thinking, I need people like this in my corner, well, this is your moment. When you choose to partner with me through the Wolfpack, you're going to get access to a whole bunch of awesome training that'll absolutely change the game for your business. We have the Social Agent Academy Pro from Mike Sherrard. This is the #1 social media course in all of real estate. We also have Lewi Gault's Predictable Productions. This is elite systems, time management, and process training like you've never seen before. We have Jeremy Kane's Foundation Builder. This is how to generate organic leads and build strategic partnerships without having to pay for ads. And then you get Apex Elite AI, which has my course Agent Prompt University, which will take you from A to Z in AI and real estate. Plus you have the best lofty CRM training in the market. We also have 5 weekly mastermind calls and access to a network of over 3,500 agents in 25 countries. All of it is completely free when you choose to partner with me at the Wolfpack. So drop Wolfpack in the comments or hit the pinned comment to book a call and see if it's a good fit for your business. I always appreciate you guys watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned because we are just getting started. Let's go.